what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Mackie. So what I'm going to be doing today is reading a bunch of my subscribers and followers' scary stories. Why did my light just go out? So I asked a lot of you on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat to email me. I wanted all of your scary stories. So I got quite a lot actually. I don't know if I can fit them all into this video, but if I can't, there will definitely be a part 2. And if you still want to have the chance to be in my video, you can still email me or send it to my Instagram. I know a lot of you were probably expecting the Roosevelt video today, but honestly there's so much footage, it was taking me way longer than expected to edit. So that's why I'm going to upload this one today and continue editing the Roosevelt, and that will definitely be the next video you see. But like I said, if you want to be in a video like this, make sure you either email me, DM me, I'll leave everything down linked below. But with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So I'm going to be looking down a lot just because I'm reading off of my phone, so bear with me here. I screenshotted everything. Look how many screenshots I have. So that's why I can't fit them all into today's video, but okay. So this first story was DM'd to me on Instagram by someone named Bethany. This is how the story goes. My name is Bethany, and this all started when I was a young girl. I've always been really empathetic and open to spiritual things. One of those spirits is Sarah. Sarah appears to be a 16 to 17-year-old girl with blonde hair and green eyes. She doesn't like me. She has scratched me. I'll send pictures of it, which she did, and I will definitely insert those for you guys to see. Choked me and tried to get me to kill myself. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I was in my room one day and I just felt tired and sick and just didn't feel good overall. I was in my room alone, but my sister was in the room over. She heard me fall and didn't think anything of it. I blacked out. When I woke up, I have 3 scratches on my side. Ugh, that's scary. As time went on, they got deeper and started bleeding. I had no idea what to do, so I just went on with my day. I talked to my mom, and since I'm not a religious person, we decided it'd be best to see a medium. We saw the medium, and she kept saying she felt pressured. She said, oh my god, wait. She said, "There's some dead bitch on you." Okay, sorry. She also said the name Sarah, a name I used for an imaginary friend since I was little. She sent me to get cleansed. It was so serious that the medium paid for everything. She just wanted Sarah off of me. This actually helped for 2 years, but one night when I was alone at home, it happened again. I was talking to my boyfriend on the phone when all of a sudden my back started burning. I looked in the mirror and immediately knew what happened. I was still on the phone with my boyfriend and I started telling him everything. He asked for a picture of my back, so I took one. Then 5 minutes later, my back started hurting more, so I looked again and it was bleeding. I was so scared because this time I was home alone. I called my mom and she told me to stand in the driveway and have my boyfriend come get me and not to come back home until she got there and saged. These are only 2 things that Sarah has done to me, and I'm not going to explain exactly how terrifying it is. So then she includes all the pictures, which I'll insert right here. And then she says, "This picture also scares me because what is that white cloudy stuff?" That's like one thing that really scares me about this stuff. Like, I do not want to be touched physically. If I wake up with a scratch, like, I'm done, I'm out of there. The house is broken, I'm burning down. So I don't know how she stayed there and was so calm, but that's actually scary. So thank you, Bethany, for sending this in. I really appreciate it. The next story is from someone named Ivy. So Ivy DM'd me and she said, "Hey, I used to live in a confirmed haunted house. If that interests you, I have a few different stories of what it was like living there." So of course I said, "I'm for sure interested and love to hear some stories." So this is what she said. "The best one would be the baby monitor one. I was younger and my mom needed to run to the store quickly and took me with her. Our neighbor's house was less than a meter away, so we left the baby monitor and key with her, locked up the house. When we got back, she asked if we already went home, and we were super confused and said no. Turns out someone was in my brother's room trying to wake him up by repeatedly calling his name until she went and checked. Not a single window or door was open, and my brother was an infant, so it definitely wasn't him. He couldn't even speak yet. Every night at the exact same time, you could hear the shower turn on and run for about a half hour. Despite the door open and light on, the shower was never actually on, but you could hear a woman singing in there. We did our best to avoid the bathrooms at this time. Around the same time, at the fourth step down to the basement, and only the fourth step, you could smell cigar smoke, which clearly none of us smoked. I used to sleep in the basement room. Being 10, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But every single night, I had the same nightmare that I got trapped in a house fire and could never get out in time. I ended up moving my room upstairs, and my mom's friend moved in with us, and he took the basement. They would keep the room spotless and go to work while keeping the door locked. One day they returned home, room still locked, and there was a perfect circle of wetness on their bed. It wasn't under any pipes or anything, so while weird, they brushed it off and moved the bed. A few days later, they cleaned the room, locked the door, and went to work. They returned home to a screw in the spot that lined up where the wet spot was on the bed, and it used to be there, and it was cleanly cut in half. They never found the source of where it came from. The first night I spent upstairs, I was laying on the top bunk when a piece of white tissue or paper fell from the ceiling to the floor. Of course I wanted to know what it was and jumped down from the bed and turned on the light and searched. Nothing there. Another time my mother, brother, and I were laying in our bed watching a movie when the room temperature suddenly dropped. We all had the same thought of looking to the door, and sure enough, above the door we caught a glimpse of something we can't quite explain. My mother ended up saying enough was enough and handed in a notice, and the landlord's only comment was that we were the 5th family to complain about weird events. Okay, that was a really scary one. I know I wouldn't be able to stay there if that was my house. So, I don't know how all these people are doing it, but thank you, Ivy, for the story. Okay, the next one was emailed to me by a girl named Jade. And it reads, "Hey Mackie, my name is Jade, and this story doesn't actually pertain to me or anything I've been through, but it's all happened to my dad. In order to understand the story a little better, let me preface the story by saying my dad is not originally from Florida. He was born and raised in Virginia, which you can imagine has a lot of farmland and is very rural. When he was about 19, he and a friend of his decided they wanted to rent a house together. The house they found and decided to live in was an old house in the middle of a field that sat on a long road. It had a beautiful view of the mountains that sat behind it. Now that you know this, we can begin with the real story. When my dad and his friend first moved in, they didn't suspect anything unusual until a few months down the road. My dad said it started as little things you'd hear, like floors creaking as if someone was walking on them, but no one was there, so they brushed it off as the house is just old, and old houses have creaky floors. Then they'd hear tapping on the walls, usually in threes, which is usually demonic and mocking the Holy Trinity. And for this, they just brush it off as more old house noises. Then things got aggressive. One night my dad was laying in bed when all of a sudden he got this bad feeling, and obviously he was scared, so he tried to sit up to see what was there, though only he couldn't see something was holding him down onto the bed. My dad was raised in a very strict Christian family and was taught that all you have to do to make evil go away is say Jesus. So that's what he did, and immediately whatever it was let go of him. Another time he woke up to the sound of doors slamming shut and things clashing around. He ran to see what it was, and all the cabinets and drawers in the kitchen were open and dishes were everywhere. Okay, that part freaks me out because it reminds me of Paranormal Activity, and that was like the scariest movie ever to me when I first saw it. Something else that was very strange was that they had a dog that was very sweet and loved everybody, but for some reason would not go down into the basement. My dad said if she was anywhere near the basement, she'd snarl and growl and would always keep her eyes on the basement. She'd never turn her back and would be always facing towards it. My dad also recalls his friend that lived with him picking the dog up and walking down into the basement with the dog to try and get her over the fear of being scared of it, and she was frantic the whole time. They both wondered why she was so scared and went down into the basement to look for answers. Upon doing so, they found a secret crawl space that was behind an old cabinet. They looked inside the crawl space and found out it opened to a whole other room. They talked to the landlord and found out the house was part of an underground railroad. Weird stuff continued to happen, so after saving some money, my dad and his friend moved out. My dad hates talking about this house, and he said multiple times that there's things that went on in that house that he cannot talk about because they're too scary to be able to believe, which leads me to believe it was demonic. He always warns me to be careful what you invite into your life because sometimes you can't close the doors once you've opened them. Thank you, Jade, for sending that. That is absolutely crazy. This is why I'm not a good storyteller, because for some reason my voice gives out after like 2 minutes of talking, so I'm sorry for the raspy voice. I don't know why it does this. Okay, I think I have time for a couple more. I don't want to make the video too long and bore you guys, but like I said, there will be another one of these very, very soon. It might even be in like 2 days, I don't know. But there's so many stories, like there's got to be 100 of them that I've gotten. So I'm sorry if your story isn't featured in this one, but I promise you it will be in the next one. Okay, so this next one is from a girl named Serenity. I like your name, by the way. She says, I have no idea if it's too late to send one, but I have a few. But here is 2 of many I have from my childhood home. When I was younger, I used to live in Tyler, Texas, and the house we had wasn't a younger house, but it wasn't very old either. The house was 50 years old when we bought it and moved in. This house, to me and my siblings, felt weird right off the bat, but being little, you don't get into it. There were 2 rooms that felt the most off, which was the second master bedroom and the bathroom in the hallway. At first, the master bathroom was my older sister's room, but we decided to switch rooms since she wanted a smaller space and I wanted more room for all the toys I had at the time. Why would someone want a smaller space? Just asking. When I was younger, I had a lot of baby lives. My dog. When I was younger, I had a lot of baby lives because they were my favorite, and I decided I wanted to play with them in the walk-in closet that was in the second master bedroom. I grabbed a box and some blankets to make a little crib for the doll. I sat down on the floor of the closet ready to make up some fun little games when I felt a cold wind by my ear and heard something whisper I wanted to play too. Keep in mind, yes, I was a kid, but I was also around 8 when this happened. So I was smart enough to know to get out of that room as fast as possible and not look back. My dad asked me what was wrong, and I said I heard something in the closet, and he went in there to see nothing was there. The only thing in my closet was my baby doll and my clothes. He brushed it off as my imagination, and I couldn't fight him on it. Until a couple weeks later, I had my cousins over. We were having a sleepover, and it was quiet, a bit of fun getting to stay up late and play. My cousin wasn't aware of anything bad in the house. She felt a little off, but brushed it off, thinking it was just because she was in a new place. It was around 3 a.m. Oh no. And we were jumping on the bed when she looked over the closet and went pale. I was confused and didn't know what was wrong. She looked at me and mumbled that someone was looking at us from the closet. I didn't fight with her, and we decided to sleep in my sister's room that night. We ended up moving out of the house when I was 9. When I asked my mom about the things going on, she told me in the house next door someone died there, and my bedroom was close to that house. She also told me that the lady who used to own the house passed away in it. Oof. No thank you. But I feel that someone passed away in my house, so definitely weird stuff goes on when that happens. I wore my spooky shirt today for you guys. It's a cat. A skeleton cat. Okay, this one's pretty short, but it really freaked me out because something like this happened to my friend, and she told me about it like 2 years ago. So they wanted to stay anonymous, but it reads, I have a family friend that is a missionary in Mexico. They were clearing the jungle when he bought property to build the man church / compound to do the outreach from, and they were sitting around a fire burning brush one night, and a pack of dogs came up. One dog is much bigger than the rest. The local he was with started freaking out, saying Dog Man was coming for him. They threw him in the back of the truck and took off back towards civilization. As they were watching the fire from the back of the truck, the biggest dog came back, stood up on 2 legs, and became a man as he walked into the jungle. This is a true story. So I'll tell you my friend's story real quick and why this story freaked me out so much. So my friend doesn't believe in any of this stuff, nothing paranormal. She doesn't believe in any of it. Like, she likes spooky things but just does not believe in it. So I think it was probably like 4 years ago for her, but her sister and one of her friends were out one night trying to find something to do, and her friend was driving, so they went to this abandoned Boys and Girls Club parking lot to try and park and just figure it out. So it was probably around like 10 or 11 o'clock, and they're parked in this lot, and their headlights are shining out towards the big fields they have at Boys and Girls Clubs. So their lights are shining out onto the field, and they see something running across the field. And they all kind of stopped and are like, what is that? Because it was going so fast. So they're staring at this thing, and it runs into the headlights so they can see it. And as it's running into the headlights, they realize it was a giant dog. They thought it was a coyote, but they're like, it looks like a wolf because it's so big, but it looks bigger than a wolf. So they're like, what is that thing? And they said it was the fastest they've ever seen an animal run. So they're watching this thing, kind of getting a little bit freaked out at this point, and the dog man, whatever it is, kind of like looks at them and makes eye contact with their car, and as he does that, he stops, stands up on his hind legs, and starts running straight for them, extremely fast. So he's running straight at them on hind legs, and they said it was about 6 feet tall, so they quick got out of there, but she told me that, and I'm like, okay, I 100% believe her, considering she doesn't believe in any of this stuff, and she would never like even say that something like this would happen. So that story has always freaked me out, and so when this person said the dog man thing, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Okay, I'll end it on this one, but I'll say it one more time. Don't worry if your story didn't make it in here. There'll be another one coming. I'm probably gonna film it, what day is it, on Wednesday or something, upload it Thursday, so don't worry, you'll definitely make it in the video. So this one comes from a user called PXNDORAE. I don't know what it is, but okay, it says, one time I was out camping with my family and my cousins. I was never a scared kid. I was always very adventurous and never afraid of anything. So on the second day, me and my cousin went to explore the woods. On my way home, we decided to take a longer path home so we could see the scenery. Then my cousin gasped and said, holy shit, what the heck are those? I looked to where she was pointing and my heart dropped. It was a staircase that led to nowhere. I had heard stories about how it would mess people up, but I never got scared. But seeing it in person was a different story. I started to walk towards it. Sorry guys. I started to walk towards it. I couldn't stop. It was like something else was controlling my body. I could hear my cousin yelling at me to stop, but I didn't. I couldn't. The second I put myself on the first step, I blacked out. But not in the way you would think. Everything went black and I couldn't control anything, but physically I kept walking up the steps. I was mortified at this point. Then after what seemed like hours, I could finally see. I could finally control myself again. I opened my eyes. I was on the last step. After that is a pretty high drop. I turned around to run down the stairs, but something pulled me from my hood and I was flying backwards from the top of the stairs. I actually blacked out this time. When I opened my eyes, I was being carried onto a stretcher. I looked down and there was a giant gash. There was a giant scar down my right leg. It was bloody and really gross. To this day, I still don't know what happened. I'm mortified of forests and my cousin had to go to therapy. But every time I go near a forest, I feel the same pull that I did on top of those steps. Okay, I lied. I'll do one more. I make the rules here. I'm in charge. This one comes from Ari. So there was a lady me and my family used to go to church with. I don't go anymore, and she was majorly religious, couldn't go a minute without even talking about God. And we had invited her and her husband and daughter over for dinner one night, and they were super nice at first. But then as we all started eating was when things got really weird. She started making snotty comments about how if we were going to devote our lives to God, we needed to have more crosses to protect us from the demons. And then her daughter, who was like 6 at the time, kept mumbling under her breath, and her mom just casually looks at her and says, What have we talked about? Speaking in tongues is the devil's language. After dinner, they all stuck around for a few hours just talking. Me and her daughter went to my room. I was around 10 at the time, and her daughter keeps mumbling under her breath. And so I asked her if she was okay, and she just started screaming. Her mom ended up bringing in holy water and splashing it on her face and pulling out her Bible and reciting verses like her daughter was possessed. Let's just say we never invited them over again, and that's one of the reasons I stopped going to church. I don't even know if it was holy water. She was just carrying a flask of water around. That's why I don't babysit. I've been asked so many times to babysit, and I'm always like, no, because I'm scared the kid's possessed and is like gonna do some weird stuff like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun reading your stories, and thank you guys so much for sending them to me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I really enjoyed it. It was so much fun for me to read your guys' stories. But if you did like it and you want another one just like this, make sure you slap that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification icon so you don't miss out when I post new videos. For everyone who I included in this video, I will leave all your ads down below in the description, so make sure you guys go give them some love, because it's not easy talking about that stuff. But anyway, like I said, Roosevelt video coming out very soon. There was just so much footage, like hours and hours. It's taking me so long to edit. If you guys have any scary stories you want me to read, make sure you email them to me, DM me. I'll leave all the links down below where you can send it. Make sure you follow me on my TikTok, Instagram, and all my socials, because I post fan stuff, scary stuff, life stuff every single day, and you don't want to miss out on that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and supporting me, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.